everyone, Kathy here, and welcome back to This Girl is on Fire, dealing with fibromyalgia. And welcome back to my channel, and I hope you will find it very helpful. And in future videos, I will be sharing a lot of strategies that were helpful for me, and I hope that you will find them helpful to you. I wanted to apologize for a minute if you hear my dog in the background licking her bowl. I call her old lady Sadie, and she's a little obsessive compulsive, and she would just keep licking the bowl and then go to my other dog's bowl and start licking. So hopefully it won't be too distracting. I tried to get her in here to stop doing it for my video, but I'm just going to do it anyway. That's one thing I love about these videos is I really don't edit them too much, and I just like it to be down to earth and like real life, right? So the subject matter for today's video is called Family Meeting, and this is based on something that I had to do in my own fibromyalgia journey because I was getting very frustrated with myself, with the fibromyalgia, but also with my family and my family's response to it. So maybe you can relate to some of what I am about to say and share with you. So I am a mother of 4 children, and I've been married for 34 years to my husband. And over the years, I have been very dedicated to that cause of family and being there for everyone and being a fairly active person. Not that I'm a very physically active person as far as, exercising a lot, that kind of thing. I've never been that so much, but in my life, my time has always been filled with meeting the needs of my children or my husband or my career and things that I'm doing and being creative. And I've always had many irons in many fires in my life. And fibromyalgia, I think I said in my other video, has been one of my biggest teachers and has taught me to be creative. But that said, it is also a time of grieving and going through a grieving process that you'll find either when you're newly diagnosed with fibromyalgia or fibromyalgia forces you not to be able to do those things that you used to be able to do. And so it's slow over time. And maybe I'll do a video on the grieving process with fibromyalgia. I think it's something that really needs to be talked about and not just swept under the rug. But I'd like to spend more time with that in another video because I want to get back to this team meeting or family meeting idea. So growing up with my children, we were probably a little unconventional because I was a homeschooling mom for 12 years. So I homeschooled my children. They also had public school experience, but the majority of their education was homeschooled. So they were around me a lot. I was around them a lot. But we had this family thing that if there was a conflict that came up or something that needed to be discussed, anybody in the family could call a team meeting or a family meeting, and we would all sit down and we would all discuss it and maybe take a vote or everybody have a voice into how to handle the situation. So with my fibromyalgia, I got to a point where I was at my lowest low as far as my functioning level. I was finding that if I did anything of the norm, meaning vacuuming, going grocery shopping, doing the dishes, anything that I call normal life stuff that most people can do and handle, my body was not able to handle it, and certain triggers would put me into the bed for 3 days for a fibro flare. So my functioning level was very, very low. My pain was extremely high. I was taking at least 4 to 5 hot showers a day to try to keep the pain at bay. My doctor had put me on 3 to 4 major heavy-duty medications that, even though I was taking them, really wasn't helping that much. The other thing that was very challenging for me, I think I just mentioned, was grocery shopping. So if I did go, my husband would have to go with me, and I would have to use one of those little push electric chairs to try to conserve my energy, because it was very overwhelming to do grocery shopping. I tell you, my pride stood in the way. For the longest time, I would not use one of those things. It took a lot of changing of the way I thought and I had to convince myself it was part of my self-care and conserving energy, and I didn't care what other people thought. But it took a long time for me to get there and get past that pride of just using the chair and doing what I had to do, what was best for me, without caring about what other people thought. So I finally got to that point and would use the electric carts when I would go to the grocery store. So let's just say quality of life was pretty low. And if you're like me, I got to the point where I didn't want to complain about my pain or my fatigue, and I would just keep it inside and not say anything to my family members, because I thought they would get tired of hearing me complain about it. So a lot of times I would keep it in, and that's not so healthy either. But one of the biggest struggles was with my children, because they would see me being highly functional one day, and then the next day being totally the opposite and in the bed, unable to do anything. So for their teenage years, and young adult times, they were used to seeing me higher functioning, and they were really struggling with seeing me being really well one day and being able to do everything, and then the next day just be totally unable to do anything. And so I was getting some complaints from them, like, Mom, I just don't understand. Like, you were able to do that yesterday, or you promised to take me somewhere, and now you're in the bed. So there was this huge inconsistency from day to day, what they saw that I could do and what I couldn't do, or something I could do one day and then I couldn't do it the next day. And for them, they were just like, that's kind of strange. Like, there's an inconsistency there that was hard for them to understand. And I felt overwhelmed by the expectations of the family, because my husband and my children had expectations of me that, in my world and in my mind, were unrealistic now with fibromyalgia, because fibro was getting in the way and it wasn't allowing me to do those things I used to be able to do. So I decided to have a family meeting. I wrote down first on a piece of paper what all my needs were, what I needed for myself, what I needed from them. I was very specific, and how I needed them to help. I also was very verbal about how much I felt like I was suffering, and tried to be descriptive, like I talked about in my last channel. Be descriptive about the pain and how you feel it in your body and what the fatigue feels like. Because people who don't have fibromyalgia, they don't understand. They just don't get it. So I would encourage you to have a family meeting, sit your family down, and do it in a way where you use your I statements, and plan it out ahead of time. Write it down on a piece of paper, the things that you need. Be verbal about those things, those normal daily things that you used to be able to do, you can't. I maybe even apologize to them. I know this is your expectation of me. I know this is what you want of me, but with fibromyalgia, I am unable to do this anymore, and I really need your help. And tell them what is helpful for them. Now, that said, I also had to make the decision to be responsible for those things that I could be responsible for and get creative about and do in a different way. Here's one example. One of the hardest things for me to do was to go grocery shopping. Like I said, I got to my lowest low where it was really being so difficult for me to go that I had to use the electric chair. I had to ask my husband to come with me because I couldn't do it by myself. The loading and the unloading in and out of the car was just excruciating. And then putting the groceries away, it was just a major ordeal. And it still is. He still goes with me, but things are better now. I don't have to use the electrical cart. I've had a lot of positive changes in my life. But that said, how I got creative about it is I looked at my local grocery stores and found that there are two of them that would make home deliveries. And so I would do online shopping in my home, and they would deliver the groceries to my door. And I was so excited about that. And yes, I took advantage of that. And boy, did that change my life in a really big way, because it helped me conserve a lot of energy. I felt that I had another way of doing it that helped me so much with my health. I don't think these grocery stores know how much they helped me even become a little more healthier and higher functioning in my life by giving me that opportunity to conserve energy and keep myself more healthy. So I would encourage you, even in the area of grocery shopping, to check and see what services are available through some of your local grocery stores. It was fantastic, and I highly recommend it. If for some reason, too, you have no family or a family that is not supportive, I would say reach out to people who can be supportive of you and people who do understand. I have on occasion reached out to some of the fibromyalgia groups online with a word of caution, because you don't want that to be a place that brings you down. But if it's a place that can lift you up, I would say they're worth trying, because you need to stay in that positive space for you in order to figure out strategies for your life that are going to work. So you need to surround yourself with people who are going to support you, people who have more positive energy and that don't bring you down. And we all know sometimes family are those people that can bring you down. So we do have power to make choices and decisions, and you do have a brain to be able to stay creative in your life. And I encourage you not to be all or nothing in your thinking. It's very important to stay solution oriented and to think in different ways. What I love about that in my life is thinking in different ways allows you to keep things in your life that sometimes you feel like you have to give up totally. And I'm saying you don't have to give it up totally. It just may look different in your life, or you may get from point A to point B, but just in a different path than you thought you would take. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I encourage you today, get your family on board. Part of their frustration may be the fact that you're not communicating your pain, your fatigue, your frustrations, but we have to still do it in a loving way where we use our I statements And I want to encourage you to be vocal about the things that you need, the things that you need from other people around you, and tell them you're disappointed that you can't do these things anymore either. And be honest and out there about your grieving. You know, it's just like a loss of your old self. And describe the fact that you're going through the grieving process with that. And you're just hoping for some understanding from them as you're going through this process of dealing with fibromyalgia. But again, I will encourage you and say you are not alone. We are out here with you, for you, supporting you, loving you, hopefully lifting you up, and giving you some tools to use in your life to make your quality of life better. And if you're dealing with one of those low days, like I've had many, it's so easy when you're there to think that your life is always going to be that way, that every day is going to be that low and feel that bad. Let me encourage you that things will get better. And I will see you next time on my channel. This Girl is on Fire, dealing with fibromyalgia. And please like and share my channel. Subscribe to it if you like what you're hearing. And I just want to be a support system for you. And just know that your voice counts and your voice is important. And I understand what you're going through, because I'm there with you. I have my good days and my bad days as well, so I get it. Until next time, I wish you